Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of CNN News 18 Indian of the Year 2024, where we recognize Indians who have made significant contributions in various fields, thereby making the whole nation proud. Well, this year has been remarkable for our athletes. From cricket to hockey to shooting and much more, we as a nation have witnessed numerous journeys of hard work and resilience turn into stories of excellence. Over the next half an hour, we will be discussing two broad categories that entail a few names who have excelled this year in the field of sports. I'm Kritsween Walia, and joining me in celebrating our star athletes are Dipali Deshpande, Arjuna Awardee, Olympian and eminent coach, who's also coached some of the top athletes of our country. Atul Vasan, former cricketer who still swears by the game, and senior sports journalist Mr. Ayaz Memon is with us. The first category is the Indian of the Year Sports. Let's begin with the nominees right away. Manu Bhakar, the pride of our nation, is the first nominee in this category after creating history at Paris Olympics 2024 by clinching 2 bronze medals. She has become a household name and is today a role model for the country's budding shooters. Next up, the man who needs no introduction, Jasprit Bumrah, one of the finest fast bowlers of the world. Someone who's literally overturned the popular perception that T20 is a batter-friendly format by pulling off some unforgettable deliveries and ensuring the 2024 T20 World Cup for the entire country. The third nominee up on your screens is Swapnil Kusale, who made his debut at the 2024 Paris Olympics and clinched a bronze in an event that remained unclaimed for the country till this one. Overall, he's had a distinguished career with several notable achievements. And with that, we move on to the next nominee for this category, PR Srijesh, for whom the goalpost has been a home for the last 2 decades. That's been his journey. The former captain of the Indian hockey team played a vital role in the team's bronze medal wins at the 2020 and the 2024 Summer Olympics. And our last nominee on your screen, Smriti Mandhana. This again is considered one of the best batsmen in the women's cricket and holds several coveted records to her name. We quickly open this up with our experts who continue to stay on with us and talk about each of these distinguished star athletes who have made the whole nation so very proud. I want to first up begin with Mr. Ayaz. Mr. Ayaz, I want to straight up get to the 2 qualities that make a sports person legendary and a role model for many. It's the ability to bounce back from setbacks, be it physical injuries, career setbacks, the ability to perhaps maintain consistency. How do you evaluate each of these star athletes on those parameters?
Well, I think, the choice is excellent. But as you mentioned, that the 2 basic parameters, the basic pillars on which you appreciate sporting achievement is that there's a level of excellence that you have to attain. So, for instance, if you are winning a World Cup for India or you're winning an Olympic medal for India, that's at the acme. And then, of course, there is consistency. It's not just that you had one terrific bowling performance or one medal that you won at the Olympics. Of course, that makes a big difference. But otherwise, you can go and you can be a shooter and you'll have many tournaments where you go and do well. But unless you do it at the highest level and you do it with a degree of consistency, I think, those are the 2 basic game changers, in my opinion, to identify or to, to tag athletes as being great. And I think what you've got here is a very fine assembly. I'm sure that you will talk about each of these athletes, but I just think that this has been a good year for India in sport, a bit of a mixed bag. There are medals which we wanted in the Olympics, which we couldn't get, but we've also got medals where we didn't expect. So, and obviously we've had some fantastic achievements in cricket and hockey, and obviously, and now, as we see, even in chess.
Dipali, speaking of breaking mental barriers, shooting is all about overcoming this challenge every now and then, not just one game. How do you see the journey of Manu and Swapnil so far, the 2 shooters, in this category? They've given the reason to the entire country to shine at Paris 2024 and make all of us so very proud.
Yeah, of course. Like as Mr. Menon said about Manu, she's a amazing shooter. I had been watching her ever since she entered junior national squad. So it was within a year she came to the level where you can call it excellence. And then she had been so consistent. If you see her performance from 2018 Commonwealth Games till now, see, and the way she came back, you have to understand. I had been there at Tokyo, sitting behind her. I knew what was happening, inside the camp, all the controversies and the pressure under which she was performing. So and at the same time, it's okay. We all expect a lot from shooters, but shooter herself also, she was expecting a lot from herself. She was trying to do the best, and in fact, she did also very well. She missed out on finals. Even in 24, she missed out very narrowly. So maintaining that consistency in all in difficult situations, and for shooters, that Tokyo Olympic was difficult because of the conditions we had. Like we couldn't go according to our plans. Then last minute we just had to rush to Croatia to have some kind of training. And it's a temperament. It's a game of temperament. They are constantly we train them, like the shooters train from one level to another level.
Yes.
And consistently they are polishing their stress management skills. And suddenly 7 months, no stress, nothing is happening. So coming back from that phase and performing at that level was commendable. But again, the backlash was also tough. So after that, the way she came back in Paris, see, we just remember 2 medals that she won, but we also have to remember that in third event also she made it to the final, and by a
missed it by a whisker. Yes.
Yeah, so that just shows the quality of not just her shooting excellence, but the kind of personality she has, and the strength of character, I would say.
And what about Swapnil? Because he too, this was his debut appearance, and having come back with a medal, and that too in an event that perhaps so many of us had not heard of. So many people didn't know what a 3P 50-meter event is.
Yes, 50-meter 3-position event is like, it's, a lot of things packed together. Like there are so many variables, like it is shot outdoors. So there is light, wind, weather, everything bothers shooters. Then there are 3 different positions. So that adaptability, like shooter has to train for that adaptability, and handling all these variables with pressure. And as his coach, I can tell you, just before the Olympics, whatever final training camps were happening, he was having some technical issues in his strong positions. Like the kneeling position is the first position, and it's his strongest. But that is the position where shooter has to face the first, that anxiety. And so, of course, we corrected it. But then whatever they do in training, it remains in their mind. So coming over that and performing well when it matters. So during training, he used to complain, say, ma'am, everybody is shooting so well, training well, but mine is not going well. I said, it doesn't matter who shoots well in practice. What matters is who shoots well in the match. So you just focus on your technique, and we will see what happens. And that's what he did. He performed when it mattered.
Well, he left his past behind, going into this big tournament, perhaps the biggest of them all for every shooter. Dipali, coming back to you in just a bit, Atul Vasnik, we also have cricketers in the running for the Sports Icon Award. They've both had a very interesting journey, and they've been known to break records in their own way. Jasprit Bumrah, of course, just like Manu Bhaker, is another household name. Everybody wants to watch out for his splendid bowling. And he seems to have shown past all of his injuries in the past, all of those setbacks wherein he missed some very crucial games. How do you see their journey overall so far?
I've listened to Ayaz, who's your old friend, and the lady here. It would be very partisan of me to just jingoistically say that Bumrah is the best, because that we tend to actually just gravitate towards core competence and what you like and what you've been doing. But I think the biggest achievement ever in sports history of India, I'm not talking about this, I'm just touching and I'll bring that connect to it. It was Neeraj Chopra because this is a black swan. We're not supposed to win against the big white Caucasian beef eaters, and he's come along in a sport where it's so we always expect medals in shooting because traditionally they're ethos. If you throw a football to a South American kid, he'll start juggling it. You do it to an Indian guy, Indian kid, he won't. You give a ball to an Indian kid, he will just turn the ball. And a South American kid can also something that's X factor. The Hobbs Boston is there that people gravitate. And I have always realized that I was a skeptic that we should not waste money on sports where we got no chance. But Neeraj Chopra is the one and who's made me into a believer that yes, we can win medals in track and field. And I think so. Track and field winning medals is much better. But I expect from shooters, wrestlers, boxers because you match the weight in wrestling, you match the weight in boxing, and shooting is that Arjuna was from here, right? So I think so. So these three sports where we have got chances, I think put all the money behind these three or four are core competence sports, and just and buy not because of it, but despite of it, if Neeraj Chopra comes in. But what Bumrah has done, so let me come to it. So my thing is, if you win medals in Olympics and a cricketer getting something, there is no competition. It's a zero-sum game. I would always go with an Olympic achiever. But coming to Bumrah, let me tell you, we have won the World Cup just because of this guy. So Priti, I'm not touching on because.
But we are a cricketing nation, so I mean, unfortunately or fortunately, that's how it is. We're slowly trying to change that.
I should be saying this. I am being the devil's advocate. Why we are because only 12 countries and only 3 or 4 countries play it properly. 8 countries are just running around. There's no cricket all the world. But this sport, shooting, boxing, wrestling, track and field, tennis, all over the world plays. So look at the numbers. Just because it's in your face, the money comes in, you think cricketers are doing it, but just the World Cup winning and this standout performance. Can you imagine the average rate for the bowlers was around 8, and this guy didn't go over 4. So he was the only factor, and winning the first test match in Australia. So I think, considering Olympic medal and 2 medals, and still Bumrah, and in spite of me not being biased towards cricket, I think what Bumrah has done is so I would go towards him.
Okay, can I just dare ask this, before we move on to our next segment about what's your best bet, the three of you all, who are you going to be voting for, if I may? Mr. Beban, let's begin with you.
Well,
Where's your vote placed?
My vote would still remain with Manu Bhaker. I've heard my old friend, so he's absolutely right in many ways. Game changer has been in Indian sport has been Neeraj Chopra. Atul is absolutely
That's why
right.
I get the most hate mail, Ayaz.
Yeah, so and he's won a gold and he's won another medal this time, silver. I mean, the expectation was so high that Neeraj Chopra will win a gold that somewhere there was this sense of being disappointed that but he didn't get a gold. But a silver medal in the Olympics is a lifetime great achievement.
I was about to say that.
He's got a gold and a silver in successive Olympics. So I mean, he's a legendary figure, all-time great. That his place on that pedestal is booked. Why I'm saying Manu Bhaker is because given the backdrop from where she came, she had such a huge disappointing, previous Olympic Games, such huge disappointment, as Ms. Deshpande said, the mental toughness to come back from that disappointment and go on and win a medal, and not just 1, but 2, and almost win a 3rd, is a path-breaking achievement. Yes, there are shooters who won medals in the past, including Abhinav Bindra, who sent the ball rolling for an individual gold, so to speak, for Indian sports. But this young lady, I think, has just, her own career, obviously she's taken it ahead, but I think she's just taken the whole sport that much more ahead in India. So, yes, we are a land of archers and shooters and, wrestlers and whatever else. But you still have to go there and win the medals. Ultimately, that's what matters. And I think Bumrah, just to kind of add to a little to what Atul said, he was the crucial difference in India winning the World Cup or not. He was the big difference at the start of the year when India beat England, and on pitches which favor Indian spinners. And then
the Aussies are all praises about him. So everybody in the world seems to have been, stunned by his performances, non-stop excellent performances that he's put up. Yes, Atul wants to come in briefly. Yes.
No, I'm just here because I'm just trying to add, so the 2 medals in Olympics, of course, nobody, but I agree with Ayaz that Neeraj Chopra should get it again, because winning a gold and coming back and winning a silver, is like finding the God's particle. So we could in a million years I would have never believed that New Zealand will come and beat us 3-0 on our turning pitches. So this is a weird year we are having. Maybe strange things going to happen in the next 20 days also. But again,
And
the
Atul,
shooting,
we
what
too have
happens
been
is
so impressed by Neeraj
No,
Chopra's
but you know what
performance that
happened?
he's graced
And-
our platform twice
I
already
know,
in 2022 and 2023. Dipali, I need to quickly wrap up, go to a short break before we move on to the next category. But I'm going to make this interesting for you. I'm going to leave the two shooters out of this. Who's your best pick if we don't allow you to name the shooters?
Bumrah, because I've watched these World Cups, and in my home, like if I don't say Bumrah, then I'll get some bashing at home.
Thank you. Stay on with us. We'll talk about the rising sports star in just a bit. But just to remind our viewers, the voting lines are still on. Log on to IndianoftheYear.com.